Okay, lab 8, flexibility. We are looking at a series of different tests. A lot of these are single-sided, meaning we can compare symmetry left to right. But some of these, like the trunk extension test or the sit and reach test, we don't compare left to right, right? It's just the test itself. The only thing on here that might trip you up is PNF stretching. I'll talk about that in a second. All the other tests, they're pretty clearly explained in here through instructions, and then there will also be videos on Blackboard for you to watch to help out during lab. PNF stretching, the way this works, the subject's going to be on their back. It's going to look very similar to the passive hamstring flexibility test, except once you get to mild discomfort, that stretch will actually be held instead of released. It'll be held for 10 seconds. And then the tester is going to be applying force into a deeper stretch, and the person being stretched, the subject, is going to resist. So they're going to be pushing back into the tester pretty much as hard as they can for 6 seconds. After those 6 seconds, they're going to relax again. The tester will push further into that passive stretch, and they will get more range of motion. Okay, this one may require 2 people, and if so, just have myself or Kennedy help you out. The different stretches and tests that are under this, if you have time line, you don't have to do those in lab, but like it says, if you have time and you want to try those out, go for it. For your results section, we're going to be using the pre and post PNF number. Okay, so there will be a table on the board that you guys will fill out. It's going to look very similar to the one that's in your example. For your lab report, you'll recreate this table with subjects 1 through 6. We will have the pre and post values for each person, the average, standard deviation, and then the p-value. To do that, we're going to be using the t-test function in Excel, which there is a tutorial on, plus error bar tutorial as well. The t-test instructions are in the lab. The error bars are on a separate doc, and you can always ask if you're having trouble with that. The reason we do the t-test is this determines significance, meaning if our p-value is less than 0.05, we can determine that the results are statistically significant and it's not very likely due to chance. We can assume that the trial itself caused those results. That is really what we look at. So like it says here in the highlighted portion, even if they look very different, if your value is greater than 0.05, then we do not determine statistical significance, okay? So for your results section, you're going to have the table, and then you're also going to create a bar graph illustrating the 2 average values with error bars and a significance asterisk if it needs to be there. Okay, so on your bar graph, it's just going to have 2 bars, the average from pre and post, and then error bars. For your discussion questions, what does the experiment tell us? This asks about the p-value, what it means about significance, and then you're going to describe PNF stretching, and if this result matches what you would expect. And then what type of stretching, dynamic or static, would you incorporate before a sporting event? So think dynamic is movement, stretching, and static is just sitting in place, oftentimes stretching like a hamstring stretch, reaching out for the toes and holding that. There's also figures at the bottom of the lab, so there's pictures for everything. On the data collection sheet, I'll mention it now, and then I'll mention it also at the beginning of lab. There is a post-PNF stretching, but there's not a pre-PNF stretching. The pre-PNF stretching, we can pretty much just make the passive straight leg raise, okay, because that's essentially the same test. Okay, I think that pretty much covers everything. This is a very straightforward lab. See you there.